Did you miss us? Because we missed you. Welcome back to another episode of Press Breakers, where UP Power enters the spotlight. I am your host, Daily Press Sports Editor, the big dog, Mitch Fosberg, locked in now. 80% recovered from bronchitis and the sinus infection that plagued me last week. That was a rough episode to do. Thank you so much for listening to that episode. If you haven't, you can skip it if you want. It's not that big of an episode. But producer Noah's not with us this week. He's okay, folks. He just got caught up with assignments in the newsroom, so I'm flying solo this week. So before we get to the beef of our local talk, let's go over the big 5 bets real fast. So last week, 2-3 money line. Technically 2-3 against the spread. We missed the over-under pick on the Morlock parlay, which went 0-3, which I think is a little more impressive than going 3-0, honestly, because all three got wrong. Come on, kidding me here. But no, so now we're at 19-20 on the money lines, 17-22-1 technically against the spread, and 0-2 on the over-unders. I'll have a separate column for that now. So, what's this week's Big 5 bets? Let's get to it out of the gate. So, did anybody get impressed by the Dallas Cowboys against the 49ers after the bye week? Because I certainly didn't. Not a good showing against the 49ers. Now they're on the road again at Atlanta, who's starting to heat up. Kirk Cousins, I take over Dak Prescott any day of the week right now. And I take Atlanta's defense, running backs, and receiving core. Not number one receiver, receiving core. I take everything over Atlanta. I take everything about Atlanta over Dallas right now. So, yeah, I think the Falcons win and cover here. Give me the Falcons 34-20 over the Cowboys. Now, game 2. Sunday Night Football, Indianapolis with Joe Flacco at the helm against the Minnesota Vikings. I love Indy plus 5.5 here. I think Flacco's going to keep them in the game. Are they going to win? No, I think Minnesota finds a way to actually find some momentum second half. Because we've seen it so far this season. They get after red hot start out of the gate, and they fall apart and just hang on to winning toward the end. I think the thing that changes this week, give me Minnesota here to win 34-31. Now, the Mortal Lock parlay for this week is as follows. The Commanders' win over the Bears last week was pretty tremendous. Shout out Tyreek Stevenson for taunting fans, then getting back into play, tipping the eventual Hail Mary pass, and then the Bears lose. The Commanders are 3.5-point road favorites against the Giants. I love that here. Give me Washington to beat the Giants 30-24. Second leg of the parlay, we're going to try and even the odds with the over-unders here. We're going with it again. And it's with the Packers and Lions this week, which is going to be a really intriguing game for any UP listener. Whichever team you pull for, it's going to be fun. The under-over is 48.5, and I see that hitting big time. Both offenses have a lot of firepower. And defenses tend to generate a lot of turnovers, which sets up short fields and scoring opportunities. So Green Bay covers at 3.5. Detroit wins 34-31, but that over hits. So the over in that game counts. And then my personal moral lock this week. Fun fact about teams the week after they play Detroit, or the game after they play Detroit. They lose. And it's ugly. And it's brutal. Just like the way Tennessee lost. Now the Titans are at home, 3.5-point favorites against the Patriots. There is no reason at all on God's green grass and God's green earth that the Titans should be a favorite in any game at all this year. Patriots win and cover. Give me the Patriots 20-16. Those are the big 5 bets this week. Hopefully we turn around. I keep saying that every couple weeks. We keep getting close, but I feel this is the week. Just got to keep believing. So, the beef of the episode. We're going to talk some basketball. But not talking high school basketball. We're going to talk some college hoops. So, Bay College, local community college in town here, had some really good basketball teams last year, both the men's and the women's side. Today here is according to you on Wednesday, October 30th, where it's like 65 degrees in the UP, which is like unheard of. We had a media day for Bay basketball programs. So we're gonna show you the interviews I got from that, and we'll go from there. So first we have Bay College men's basketball coach and athletic director, Mr. Matt Johnson.
All right, well, Matt, last year in Flint, when we lost that heartbreaker to hockey, you said we'd be back, but it might look a little different, and JUCO usually does. Tell me how you feel maybe you've upgraded the team this year.
Well, I think our overall depth and athleticism is probably the best it's ever been. But I think the biggest thing is we return, we returned some guys, and it's probably the most experienced group that we've had. We returned some really important pieces, and I think all those guys have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder and want that opportunity to get back to Flint and hopefully change the outcome from what it's been the last 2 years.
Very, very difficult road to hoe this year with just the way the brackets go for the region tournament, and to get to Danville, it's not going to be easy.
I don't think it ever is. You've got to beat the best of the best in our three regions, and we drew a tough side of the bracket this year. We get the number one team in the East, but that's assuming that we both win our first round games once we get there. So, we got to take care of business to make sure we're the number one seed in the North, right? So, we have to do all season long what we need to do to get there. But I think we've got the guys to do it. I think they've got the fire right now to make sure we make a run. Now we just have to make sure we fine tune a little bit each day and put ourselves in a position at the end of the year to be playing our best basketball.
Your program, Matt, is absolutely rolling. You started just a number of years ago. Is this year number 7 now?
It'll be year number 8.
Year number 8. Time does fly. When you're having fun and working hard, and I know that's what you've done as the head coach, you're proud of where Bay College sits today. You're proud of the entire school for helping endorse this, and you've got some great players, and you're excited for this year.
Without a doubt. And I think it's athletic department wide. We're right now getting into the start of basketball season, so we're going to talk about men's and women's basketball more than anything. But you look at the growth of our cross-country program, and you look at the growth of our, baseball, softball programs, and the addition of volleyball, and, they've made it to the region tournament all but 1 year since they've been in existence. So what we've been able to do program-wide, department-wise, I think has been pretty special. But, men's basketball, obviously I spend a lot of time with those guys and put a lot of hours in the gym and on the road and in a bus together, and really proud of the strides that we've made to think about where we were, 9 years ago when I got hired and going through that first recruiting process to where we are now. It's been a pretty cool ride to be on, that's for sure.
I'm looking at 3 guys here behind me that, to me, watching them play last year, they seem like they're Division II type players. They're great basketball players. The fact that you're getting them all back again, it says something about what they felt as a Norse last year and how confident they feel like they can do something special. And I have to think it's because they have that taste in their mouth of being so close last year.
Yeah, I think so. Again, it comes down to the culture of Bay College, the culture of Escanaba, and the culture of the program. And, we're on the doorstep, right? We've been there, and I think the last 2 years we've been disappointed that we didn't make that final step to get to Danville and do what we all set out to do. But you're right, not only these 3 guys with Joe and Nick and Ryan, and I agree, they're all, high-level Division II, Division I type players, and they're going to have those opportunities. We have multiple guys in our locker room right now that passed up Division II scholarships over the summer to come back and give it another ride and try to make this happen. So, we don't do that if they don't feel a part of something special, if they don't want to be a part of, being that first group to get us there. And I think that's what we're all striving to do, and these 3 guys are going to be a huge part of getting us there.
Your support from the community has been pretty great. I know visiting teams have come in, visiting coaches, referees, and they've said, wow, some of the gyms we go to, it's not quite like this. And I know you're happy with how it's been up to this point with the support, but yet not content. You want the community to back you even more, and I feel they should.
I think there's a lot of people in the community that haven't come out and watched a game, and I think they'd be blown away with not only our groups and the athletes and the caliber of play that we have, but the teams that come through our gym, right? There's high-level Division I kids that come through the Bay Gym every single season, and it's a pretty cool thing to be a part of. But overall, our community support has been absolutely incredible. You touched on it. The opposing coaches and players comment every year that they don't play in other buildings that have the energy and the support that we get. And one coach, I don't remember who it was, but made a comment that we were the northern state of JUCO basketball, and Northern State led the country in Division II men's basketball attendance for year after year after year. And to be compared to that is pretty cool. It shows a lot about our community, and shows a lot about the program that we've been able to build. So it's been awesome. It's a community thing for sure, and we love the support we get, and hopefully we can have great great crowds for Friday and Saturday as well.
Jack Hall's done a great job on RRN Sports covering you since the beginning. Mitch Vosberg, the big dog from the Daily Press, is here. He does great as well, and he's got a question.
Yeah, so you mentioned about the strength of the culture of Bay College and the culture of Escanaba. How would you describe that culture?
You know what? It's support, I think, is the biggest thing. It's a family, and I have kids that come to campus as a recruit, and they're walking through the halls, and at the end of it, they're like, Coach, we were blown away by the facilities you had, or how nice the buildings are, and you don't necessarily see that when you're driving by on the highway. But the biggest difference from their visit here as opposed to everywhere else is the support, the resources, and the family feel that you have here. And I don't know if that's just small town Uper mentality and that's just who we are and what we do, but there is. I've worked at 4 or 5 different colleges or universities, and there's absolutely a different feel on our campus and in our community than there is at any of the other places that I've ever worked.
I know you got a lot of kids back, and it helps with the chemistry, but also trying to add in the right guys. Every team's different, every season does that matter, but how would you describe this team's chemistry so far? Do you feel like you got the right pieces to mesh with it?
Yeah, I think so. It's a work in progress, right? At this level, we're still in our infant stages, and you do have so many newcomers. I mean, we returned 6 or 7 guys, which is great at this level. But with that being said, we brought in 9 or 10 new guys. So there's 9 or 10 guys that are still getting accustomed to accepting different roles and finding their place and seeing how they integrate with the guys that are already here, and it's going to take some time. We're not going to be hitting our stride until midway part of the season, or maybe even later. But I don't want to be playing our best basketball in early November either. I want to make sure we're continuing to make progress. We're getting better as the year goes on, and I think with our group, that's going to absolutely be the case.
Matt, you wear a couple hats at the university. You mentioned the athletic department. You are the AD as well as the men's coach. You've been here since day one on the men's side. The women's side has went through a number of coaches. Last year was Todd Cicchetto, and he made an abrupt departure for good reason, I understand. But you had your hands full on trying to replace him, and you feel like you found the right coach.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. We've been really, really lucky to be able to land the quality of women's basketball coaches we have since the inception of the program, right? I don't think we've dropped off at any point throughout, but I think we really, really got lucky, especially with the timing, right? The timing wasn't ideal, but we had a really, really strong candidate pool. We had 30-plus applications at a time where I thought we'd be lucky to have a few. Almost all of them were very highly qualified, and Coach Fassett is a home run for us. I mean, he's somebody that has had success at the high school level as well as the junior college level. He's recruited junior college athletes to institutions very much like ours, and he's won at those places, both as an assistant and as a head coach. He knows what it takes as a former junior college student himself and as a former junior college coach to recruit the right kids that thrive in this environment, because it's not like the 4-year level. It's a little bit different, and you've got to find kids that fit the JUCO mold, right, and fit into the way things work at this level. So I think we're very fortunate to get the guy that we got. I'm looking for really big things from Coach Fassett in the women's program this winter.
What do you feel is the next step for this athletic program?
Oh, that's a great question. Loaded question. I want to see us continue to build, right? I want us to continue, and by that I mean relationships. I want our community connection to become stronger. I want our student athletes to continue to build relationships within the college so that they feel connected when they become alums. Obviously, we want to win games and compete for championships, but I think at the end of the day, I think providing a quality experience for our student athletes is first and foremost. They're going to be the people that come back and watch us and support us for years to come, and we want to make sure that their experience is great, in every endeavor of their time here at Bay.
Final question, just go ahead and talk about the first game coming up. It's a tournament, I understand, starting here soon.
Yeah, so we have a classic on Friday. The men open up at 8 p.m. on Friday night against the Minnesota North College Hibbing, which is always a special one to me. That's where I got my start a long, long time ago, and will always hold a place near and dear to my heart. That being said, I don't know that there's anybody that I enjoy beating more than them. They're a much improved team. They're coached very well. I think it's going to be a battle for us. But it's a really good opportunity for us to get out and play somebody that's not wearing the same jersey that we wear. We need it. We need to get out and play against somebody new and to see where we're at. We need to evaluate exactly where we're at and what we're able to do and use it as a building block to make sure we're better on Saturday when we play Rock Valley on Saturday afternoon. So Friday night's a great opportunity for us to get one in. We're excited about it. I know the guys are really looking forward to getting a chance to play, and hopefully we can put a good product on the floor and have something that the Bay College community and the Escanaba community are proud of.
All right, big thanks to head coach Matt Johnson for taking time to chat with us. Now joining us up next year on the show will be sophomores Ryan Sweeney, Nick Williams, and Joe Ofori.
My name is Joshua Ofori. I go by Joe, and I'm from Shakopee, Minnesota.
My name is Nick Williams. I'm from La Crosse, Wisconsin.
My name is Ryan Sweeney. I'm from Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Jack knows you better than we do, so I'm going to let Jack go ahead and ask a couple.
Well, Nick, this is going to be special for you considering how it ended last year with you on the bench for the last half of the year with the injury. How have you got yourself ready this year after that injury, which really came at a rough time for you?
I would say really just reps, getting more reps, and I was really out a lot of last season and towards into the summertime, so I haven't been really playing much basketball until now, so just getting a lot of reps in practice and stuff like that has helped me look forward for the games this weekend.
How you been feeling?
I've been feeling better. A little, still hurts a little bit, but I'm getting better.
And Ryan, how about for you? Last year, it seemed like it was feast or famine. You get 30 points and then you get 8 or something like that, but then you'd pick up your passing game and your assists. So tell me how you feel your game has evolved this year, man.
I really took the off season serious and gaining a little strength, and I think that will help a lot with being able to bump off defenders and turn the ball over less. I think I've worked on my jump shot a lot, so that'll help with some of those low games that you're talking about, being more consistent.
One of the things that I would mention, go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, Joe, what about you? You always get the biggest guy on the other team guarding you, and let's face it, a lot of times you get bad calls as far as fouls go, and you get into foul trouble. So tell me what you've worked on and what coaches talked about to keep you out of foul trouble and have you dominate inside like we saw you in quite a few games last year, man.
It's just all mental. I mean, I can never control what a ref can say or a bad call. That's something I can never control. But what I can control is how I come to every single game. So I like to have the challenge of guarding the biggest guy on the court, and I'm just going to try to embrace that more this season. You
got more dunks than Sweeney this year?
I always have the most dunks on the team.
Speaking of staying out of foul trouble, I don't think I'm overstepping my boundaries. I could ask Coach Johnson this, but I think his goal is to keep the three of you on the floor for just about the entirety of the game. I know that he trusts you guards greatly. I'm sure you got to come out once in a while, but the point is, you three are very, very valuable. That's why you're sitting at this table today. You know what you're bringing to the table as a second-year player. Two amazing guards. You guys have chemistry in the backcourt. Big guy in the middle. You know that you don't want to spend a lot of time on the bench, do you? Talk about it. You don't like coming out, do you?
Not really, but we got a lot of good guys this year. So this year I'm more open to being coming out more often and stuff like that because we have good guards coming in for us and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I think.
You want to say that? You want to answer that over, or are you good with that answer?
I'm good with it.
All right.
I like our team.
I think that's
year.
what our goal was this offseason for the coaches was to get deeper so we can, get a little more break.
I get what you're saying because I came to some of the games last year. I said, I've never seen kids not come off the floor. He literally kept you out there every second he could. So I get what you're saying. Yes, that's fun for you to be the guy on the floor at all times, but for the betterment of the team, you need some support in the backcourt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great. That's respect. Good. And how about you? You love playing in the post, don't you?
I don't.
You don't love playing in the post?
That's not my game.
Okay. Talk about what you're going to bring to the court this year then.
I think what I've realized, and especially something that I've realized my whole life, is I've been playing for other people. And I think this year I'm going to play for myself.
Leave it at that. Mitch, go ahead.
Yeah, obviously you guys last year, first year here, now second year here, kind of more of a leadership role. Question for all you guys, how do you feel your role on the team has changed, not just on the court, but also off the court?
I think we just have to lead by example for the other guys because, it's a new school. A lot of these guys are freshmen, 18 years old. They've never been in college, so it's leading by example and showing them how to get better and win.
Yeah, I would say the same thing as Ryan, like just leading by example. Like we've been through it all. We've been through a season of college basketball, so just knowing like what we can do and what we can't do and stuff in practice and games, because they look up to us. I would say so. Like just if we're doing the right thing, they're gonna do the right thing.
I think last year, as sophomores, we saw where our team maybe lacked last year, and especially with us being back this year, we kind of have been through it all, and they can look up to us on the things that we know we can get better as a team. So.
You mentioned this year you're playing for yourself, not necessarily for others. When did that switch kind of get flipped to change that mindset?
Flip got switched this summer. I kind of just, there's been things that happen kind of off the court. Don't really want to talk about, but I mean, I kind of just realized that I sometimes maybe can put somebody else before me with my basketball career, and I think it's time that I can finally do something for myself and kind of enjoy, because I don't think I've really been enjoying the game of basketball the way I should. So.
And thus your production is going to enhance, you feel?
Yes.
I can feel it. And Coach Johnson talked about the community. None of you are from here. What have been your thoughts on living in the UP for the last year or so?
I can start. I think that, especially coming here, especially like I'm from Minneapolis area, like coming from a big city to such a small city, you kind of have predetermined thoughts about a place like this, but being here for 2 years has definitely been like something I wouldn't have thought. Like, it's a really great community. They have all the resources to help us, especially as a student, because obviously being a student comes first. And I could never say anything bad about the city of Escanaba, and I feel like more people would grasp towards places like this if they knew that's what they would be getting out of it.
What about you guys?
I would say, yeah, like what Joe said, he hit the point on the spot on the point. But yeah, coming here, I didn't know what to really expect. I'm coming from a little bigger city as well. But coming here, it's been nothing but love from the city. Like, we got a pantry and everything. There's like community events. They have dinner for us, all that stuff like that on Mondays. So like that side of it is like really nice, and it feels like we're at home. So I would just say this community has been really supportive so far this past 2 years.
And Ryan?
Yeah, I agree with these two. It's really supportive. I came from a pretty big school before this school, so I thought it would be a little bit different, but the feel is pretty much the same with the community support.
All right, this wraps up our portion on the men's side. Now we're going to shift over to the girls' side. But before we do, we need to give a big thank you to our awesome, incredible, super team sponsors at Pioneer TV and Appliance. Folks, for game days, you need everything, right? You need your appliances, your big screen TVs, your furniture, everything you need. One place in town to get it, Pioneer TV and Appliance. Don't trust anybody. Don't trust any so expert. Trust your neighborhood experts at Pioneer TV Appliance, located 1116 Langton Street in beautiful, scenic, downtown Escanaba. Now joining us on the program is Bay College women's coach, James Fassett.
Well, Coach, it's been a while.
Yes, for sure, yeah.
Last time saw you was out at Anoka, of course, when you were coaching out there. Talk a little about the abruptness of this, because obviously when Todd left, there wasn't much time for you to come in here and take over this program and get it going.
Yeah, it sure wasn't. I mean, I had kind of reached out to Todd during the middle of the summer, kind of just talking to him about I was looking for opportunities, and just reached out to Todd because I've known Todd for several years. And then all of a sudden, probably a month ago now, he called me and was like, hey, just so you know, this is what's going on. And it was, it was really tough. The time was tough because I'm coming from a De La Salle High School in Minneapolis. We were state runners-up last year and return everybody. So possibly a state championship team. But really, at some point you kind of got to look out for what's best for my future and moving forward for kind of what I want to do with, the goals of my career. So timing obviously wasn't ideal, but, I think, the girls, obviously the players have been practicing for so long. So I came in on a Sunday, practiced Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're off to scrimmaging on Thursday, Friday or Saturday. So yeah, it was quick timing, but, sometimes that's just how it works out.
You saw how they turned things around last year after having a real rough start. And you saw how good the team got as the year went on. How do you make that next step now?
Well, I think the next step is just we've added depth, right? Todd, is a great recruiter. Recruited some great incoming freshmen. So now I think the next step is not only relying on the two big scores we had last year, but now adding to that and adding, some freshmen that are very talented and can score, come from some good high school programs in the area. And so I think that will kind of share the load with everybody. So now, we're not so easily scouted.
You mentioned to me off the air a few minutes ago that, some coaches have this thing where they're good with only playing one or two players off the bench. And you said ideally you want to have 4 or 5 girls that you can trust, that you can put in and fill a role and you don't lose a whole lot. And so far, what have you seen out of the 11 that you have?
They all bring something special. They all bring something different, and they all can contribute, right? There's some that are really good defenders, okay offensively, some good offensive players that maybe aren't great defensively. So the mix and the combination, and so it'll just be for us and my coaching group is just figuring out the right combination. When we need a strong defensive unit, who can we put in? That might be 5. We need a strong offensive unit. That could be a different 5. It could be some of the same. So I think it's just mixing in the right players and the right combinations, but they all can contribute for sure.
You have not been here very long, 3 weeks or so, and you're getting your feet wet, so to speak, and living out of a hotel right now. You said it hasn't been ideal. Life is a balance. Coaching is a balance. And you feel a little bit out of place without your family. You're excited when they get up here to help support you.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt. My mom and aunt are on their way now, probably pulling into town soon. My wife's pulling up tomorrow, being it's family weekend, so they're going to check it out. So it'll be nice to see some familiar faces and some family. But, the city's been great. Escanaba's been great. Everywhere I go, out to dinner or out to lunch or whatever, seems like somebody always strikes up a conversation with me. So it's a very friendly community, great community. And as one of the other guys said, there's, everything we need is here. Although it's small, and I'm also coming from Minneapolis as well, so used to a lot of different things and a lot of different resources, but minus Chipotle and Chick-fil-A, Escanaba has everything, and Gladstone, Escanaba has everything we need.
You're going to get to know Jack Caldwell. He does a great job covering Bay College sports, as is the Daily Press's Mitch Vosberg, and I think he has a question for you.
Yeah, so obviously been here 3 weeks. It takes a lot of good stuff said, but what kind of culture do you want to establish with your program?
Well, it's just the culture of trusting each other and the culture of playing for each other. It's not just a matter of I want to go out and get mine, and I want to go out and get mine. But if I'm having an off night, I know that my teammates have worked hard, and my teammates can pick me up. So that culture of trust and playing together and playing for each other. I always tell my teams, you're not playing for me. You're playing for that player next to you. So you trust each other. So when you go into a game, that all of you can look to the left and the right and know that all of those players are going to compete hard for each other.
How would you describe your first week here at Bay?
It's like I say, it's been a whirlwind. It's been fast, but it's kind of been everything I look for, right? I kind of really wanted to get into a situation where coaching was the main thing, right? Can't never coach 100%. Obviously, there's always other things to do, but getting here my first few weeks, coaching has been it, and that's all I've been able to do. And I got a really good scouting report put together because I got a lot of time on my hands. So, it's been great, and I've enjoyed it, and I just I'm looking forward for the future.
Obviously, great programs aren't built in just a snap of a finger. It takes time. But what do you want to accomplish year one?
Year one, I just want to establish that, again, I don't know the history of Bay and the rest of the state and how we compare to the rest of the state. But I just want to know that, when we go out and compete every night, regardless who we're playing, win or lose, that other team knows they were in a game and that they were in a fight and we're going to be competitive coming from Northern Michigan.
If I were to ask someone who's coached with you in the past, or girls that you've coached, or guys, whoever, how would they describe you as a coach, do you think?
You know what? Probably straightforward. Pretty, I like to yell and scream. I don't really yell at people, but I do communicate loudly during games and that kind of stuff. And so I do get my point across, but really, creative, and really trying to trying to win. Winning is important, although it's not the only thing, but it's really what we talk about is the little things help us get to the wins. So if we take care of the little things, the wins take care of themselves.
So we open against Jackson. They ended our season last year. The girls are going to tell you about that. But do you like that you have that right away, that you're not playing some gutter team or whatnot. You're playing against a team that ended our season last year, so you immediately have immediate motivation.
For sure, yeah, exactly. I mean, I also like it that the game is up on YouTube too, so I've watched it several times, and so I know they're sophomores anyway. I don't know they're incoming players or whatever, but no, I like that because now we kind of can, the girls who were here last year can help the freshmen be like, okay, here's who beat us out last year. Let's go out and let's set a tone right now. And it's a good time to set a tone. And I've thanked Todd several times for the non-conference schedule he's left me. I mean, because it is competitive. It is very competitive, and really will prepare us for conference play and further.
No, it's hard. Competitive is the wrong word.
Okay.
Look at some of the teams, but do you like that? Do you want to play those kind of teams right away?
I do. Oh, for sure, I do. I mean, I don't like to go into games, knowing we're gonna win or it's not gonna be competitive. I'd rather play a competitive game and lose. I feel like we you learn more from playing competitive games, win or losing, win or loss, right? Rather than just going and play a team that's not so good and maybe it's a wide margin.
A lot of coaches have someone who's influenced them in their life, maybe someone that you played for, or a coach that you look up to at the collegiate or pro level. Who has influenced you as a coach?
Well, I think what first, the high school I went to, where I just left, De La Salle High School in Minneapolis, is a basketball tradition-rich school. When I was there, we were going to state tournaments and whatever, and now on the men's side or the boys' side, they've gone to 13 straight state tournaments. We've gone. So just coming from that environment has really encouraged me, influenced me to be the coach and understand. Try to give to the players what a positive experience sports can be and what basketball can be. So coming from that environment so winning is important. We say it's not the main thing. It isn't, but winning does help the experience. And some other coaches I follow. Obviously, I'm not saying it just because I'm in Michigan, but Tom Izzo is always, when you hear him in interviews, he's a straightforward guy too, right? And he just says it like it is. But, and I also, like to follow. I started out coaching football, so there's a lot of football guys who are influential to me, and Urban Meyer and a lot of other people like that. So
awesome. I got two questions.
Yeah.
One, I learned from my high school coach and mentor that the three most important things in the program are relationships, and relationships. I know you're still really fresh, but do you feel like you're building strong relationships with the players right now?
Yeah. I think it's growing each day, and we try to. I'll text them, be like, hey, stop over to the office, and sometimes we'll just kind of just talk about life or talk about other things or talk about where they came from, so I can learn more about where they came from as a high school, because I always know when I coached in Minnesota junior college, it's all Division III, so no scholarship money, so you kind of get who you can get. And one thing we tried to focus on is getting players from good programs, whether they were players or whether they sat on the bench, because at least players coming from good programs understand winning and understand that culture. So talking to some of these players, and Katie's from Ishpeming, who won a state championship last year. I think Menominee, I think, has a pretty good program. Anna Berga, I met their high school coach. I think they're pretty good programs. So having players from good programs up here will help, and just me learning that is a help.
Gotcha. And the last question, obviously the last 3 weeks, to put it lightly, that's probably a bit of a whirlwind, but what's one memory from your time so far here that you're refusing to let go of?
My time here, I think just I remember the first time I went down to Moe's Pub, actually, and, ordered a pizza, and some guy was talking about he just closed on a house and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, hey, by the way, you say you just closed on a house. I'm going to be looking for houses. Like, oh, yeah, my guy was a flipper, whatever. Well, hey, give me his name and let me contact him. So again, like I say, being here in the community and not knowing what to expect, and coming from a big city, coming to a smaller city, not quite as diverse as where I'm coming from. As a person of color, you never know what to expect. But like I say, every place I go, everybody strikes up a conversation with me. We have great conversation and talk and chat, so it's been a great time.
All right, to close things off here, we got to chat with 3 members of the women's team. So joining us now, will be freshman Makenna Hendrickson, sophomore Kennedy Sproule, and freshman from Menominee, Anna Axtell.
Okay, my name's Makenna. I'm from Baraga, and I'm excited. It's my first year.
And you're a guard?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm Kennedy Sproule. I'm from Canada, and it's my second year here.
And Kennedy, you hit 13 threes in one game last year, right?
Yeah.
Shout out.
And I'm Anna Axtell. I'm from Menominee. It's my first year as well.
All right, Jack, go ahead.
All right, well, Kennedy, obviously you're a second-year player, and last year you had a great year offensively, nailed a lot of triples. But I know your defense at times was disappointing, and you got yelled at a lot from Todd. You told me you were going to work on that in particular. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I knew my defense was something I needed to really work on over the summer. So I did stay here over the summer to train with Todd. We worked a lot on my offense as well as my defense, and I think one thing that I had to learn was just positioning on defense and reading the people I was guarding, and I think I've gotten a bit better at that. So,
coming from Baraga, and you had some great teams up there. Of course, your family members also a part of it, your older sister. Talk with me about Baraga and the culture there and in the recruiting process, why you ended up here.
At Baraga, I think it's that we really just focus on everyone working hard and playing together as a team, and everyone wants to be successful. So, you want to work for your teammates, and I think that was a big thing there. And how I got here was after our season, Todd reached out to me, and he was talking to me about if I wanted to play basketball, and I just decided that Bay was a good fit for me.
And Anna, playing in the Great Northern Conference, very difficult. You're up against a lot of talented girls every single game. Tell me how you think that got you to this level.
I just think it really prepared me, playing against obviously a lot of good players. It just kind of taught me like the mental toughness that I need to have for every game.
So what are you going to bring to the table, you think, this year for the Norse? What's your role going to be?
I think defensively, I'm a really strong defensive player, and I think that's something I can help the team with this year.
Awesome. What about, we had talked to your coach about maybe a coaching influence he had. I know as a former player, there was guys I looked up to, maybe try to pattern my game a little bit after them. Not everybody can be a Caitlin Clark. Maybe one of you can, although you shot like her at times last year. But just down the line here, you got to have a favorite player, someone that you kind of look to and maybe try to be like a little bit.
I don't know if I'd say I have a favorite player. I enjoy watching anyone that's good at the game and just exciting to watch.
All right.
I'd say pretty similar answer. I just like watching a bit of women's college basketball just because it's a level I would like to play at. Same answer. I don't really have a favorite player, but I think watching it definitely helps see where you can improve and how to get better.
Awesome.
Yeah, for all you guys, obviously the coaching change kind of became a bit of a shock, but you all had a chance to leave if you wanted to. No one would have had an eye, but you guys stayed. What made you guys commit to staying at Bay?
I think, since we were all already here and we were already working together and practicing, and I think that everyone decided that we're already a part of a team and we want to stay here for each other, and we know that we have the ability to be a good group and have success. So I think that it was just we all wanted to stay here and work.
Let's pretend like your coach isn't in the corner of the room listening. How would you describe him so far in the first couple of weeks, young ladies, as a coach? He did mention that he's loud. He mentioned, I thought, boy, he'll get along good with Matt. Sometimes it's not what they're saying. That you've probably learned that from people. You got to listen to what they're saying, not always how they're saying it. And he is someone who's going to coach you, isn't he?
Yeah. I think so far the practices have gone pretty well. We've done a lot more, game situation, and I think it's helping to prepare us for the games that we're about to play, especially since we start off playing some pretty good teams. I think I personally like how I feel open to talk to him, and in practice and outside of practice. So.
Do you feel like you're a leader now as a second-year player? You remember 12 months ago sitting here like these two were probably a little nervous. You're still a little nervous, but not quite as much, right?
Yeah, I think just having the experience of playing for a year, it just helps to, lead their example for the other girls, because I know how a season can go, and you can go through some rough times, but as long as we stay together as a team, things can go well. So I would hope that I can just give my example and my thoughts to help them throughout this year.
every team tends to be a little different when it comes to chemistry-wise. Some teams are so uptight, don't want to be in the locker room. Some teams are free, having fun. How would you describe the chemistry of your group so far?
I guess that's you, Anna.
I don't know. I would say our chemistry's pretty good. I mean, we have a lot of incoming freshmen, but I'd say a lot of us have played together, especially the UP girls, like in all-star games and stuff, and we all kind of knew each other before coming through playing in the summer and stuff, so I'd say our team has pretty good chemistry.
Yeah, and I think it'll keep continuing to improve as we get closer throughout the year and stuff.
And I think as long as we have high energy in practice and know that we have to play together as a team and do things for each other, then it'll only get stronger. So.
Women's sports has come so far. I know I've got a young daughter. She's in 2nd grade, and I brought her to a couple games last year and the year before, and even the year before that when she was just a little girl. She looks up to you, both in stature, but also the fact that, hey, I could be out there maybe if I want to be an athlete someday, not forcing her into anything, but you know that you do have a role of being a role model here as a college athlete as well.
Yeah, I think it's a special thing to come out to these college games and have a ton of people in the stands. Like, there are certain games where the stands are just packed. You never know who's watching, and I just think it's a good thing to be able to perform in front of other people. And I don't know, if someone can look up to us, that's a good thing.
Awesome.
Your family was at almost every game last year.
Yeah. Traveling
from Canada, got to know the international border well, right? and even our long trips, they were there. Talk a little about what that's been for you, Kennedy, and just having them there, even when things weren't going well.
Yeah, for me, it means a lot just to have a support system there for me. Personally, when I was in high school, I didn't get to play very many games, just how my seasons went. So I know my parents love being able to come see me play, and I know they cheer for everyone when they're out there. They just love seeing the team play. They're my biggest fans, so it's pretty great. Yeah.
How about you, being from Menominee, just less than an hour away? Do you think you'll have some people coming down to watch you this year?
Yeah, definitely. I know there's a couple games where some of our youth teams are coming to play at halftime, so I'm sure that'll bring a lot of fans and family members up.
Awesome.
I got one question for Anna. I had coaches asking me about Menominee last year, and I flat out told them it starts and ends with trying to contain you. Obviously, a player averaged 20 points a game last year, something to scoff at, but where do you feel you want to grow your game at now that you're at the college level?
That's a good question.
He has one once in a while.
I think just being able to make the right reads, both offensively and defensively, is something that can help on both ends of the floor.
What about the speed of the game? Jack mentioned you're playing good competition in the GNC.
Yeah.
But you get to the collegiate level, obviously you haven't played in a full-time game yet, but even against the players on this unit, the speed enhances at the collegiate level.
Yeah, the speed is definitely a lot faster compared to high school, and I think that's something too getting used to, but I don't know, I think I've done a good job adjusting to that, and it should just keep getting better.
Alrighty, that wraps up this episode of Press Breakers. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't yet, like, share, subscribe, share this with your neighbor. I don't care if you do it via email, text message, smoke signal, carrier pigeon. Spread the word, man. We appreciate it. But until next time, for producer Noah, I'm the big dog, Mitch Fosberg. Thanks for stopping by. And as always, keep your stick in the ice.